have seen my previous video on replacing the front wiper motor on a Hummer H2. That was one of my first videos and was made almost 4 years ago to the day. Things have changed. The motors have gotten scarce and more expensive, costing around about $300 if you can manage to find a brand new one. So I thought I'd take a look at the old motors and see if there's any way that we can repair them. The repairs fall into two categories: mechanical and electronic. The windshield wiper motor is very much a workhorse. It's exposed to the elements, and many of them have run for 15 years or more without any problems whatsoever. But as you can see from the mounting angle, water ingress can be a problem. Water ingressing into the assembly can cause issues with the electronics and the mechanics. Over time, the pulse board seal degrades and moisture tends to get in where indicated by the blue circle. This causes a problem with the electronics, and we'll go through those issues a little bit later. Another weak area for water ingress is the junction between the motor cover, the die-cast body and the cable seal. There is also an unused manufacturing port which has a poorly fitting plastic seal. You can see the little white access port plays no role in the function of the motor, but it's loosely fitting, and if we look at the section view with it removed, you can see that condensation can get around the edges and then get into the cavity, causing corrosion. The net result of water getting into the housing is the accumulation of water both around the electronic pulse board and in the cavity where the worm gear is and the bearing for the armature shaft.
Okay, this cover is what they call a pulse module. To get it off, there's a clip on the top, one here, and two on this side, which you can do them with your fingers, just pop it off, and there we go, revealing the inside. Oh, and as you can see, it's full of water. Probably because I changed the pulse module some time ago. You can just see there's some signs of corrosion back in there and the working repairs that I did on it. It's lasted a couple of years. It might be time for a new motor, but we're going to put some grease in there, see if we can stop this thing from graunching.
It may be more convenient for you to check the motor while it's inside the vehicle, which is difficult enough because you have to remove the grille. And the only way that I know of to take the motor out is to remove the complete linkage with the motor on. But if you do want to check your motor, then this is something that you can do to make life a little bit easier. Is first of all disconnect the pulse module under the waterproof connector, then remove the pulse module. So we've removed the pulse module. Now you can check and inspect the worm gear down below here and the drive gear. Now you may not be able to see all of it, part of it may be stripped, and you can't actually take the drive gear out because it's actually bolted on from the back. But you can connect some power to this now, right, bearing in mind your windscreen wipers will move, and the way to do that would be to connect positive to the middle pin, which is slow speed, and then a ground to the ground pin, which is the black wire. So black wire is ground, the red wire is slow speed, and then you can actually see your gears move. So you can see we're taking around about 0.7 of an amp, but now you can see the actual gear going around, and you may be able to hear the problems with the bearings or anything else that's going wrong inside there. It could be the main bearing. And also check the PCB for corrosion, particularly in this little lower corner here, because that could be a problem too. But if it is a problem with the pulse module, then the pulse module is a little bit easier to handle, although it presents its own problems. Take off the grille and then take off the pulse module cover, and then you can check your motor and see if you can identify what it is that appears to be wrong with it. That's a good start. If this is damaged here, or the drive gear is damaged, then there's not a lot you can do. But if it's the pulse module, well, that's another story, we'll get onto that. But if it's bearing noise, then this is a good starting place. Before deciding to repair your wiper motor, there are a few things you need to check. Start off by disconnecting the pulse board. To do this, unplug the motor cable, which is the IP cable. That just purely is the windings to the motor. Then take your pulse module and then clip it. There we go. Take a look at the drive gear. Don't worry about the rotation or orientation, it will sort itself out. Check your drive gear for wear, particularly around the edges on here. Now the edges are grooved to match the drive worm gear from the armature. So there is a natural groove on it. That doesn't mean to say that it's worn. That's just the natural way that it is. Also inspect the worm gear here for wear. If the worm gear is very badly worn or damaged, or if this part of the drive gear, the plastic drive gear, is stripped, then there's pretty much nothing you can do. This is the end of the road. We can't get these spares. They are two critical things that cannot be avoided. Whilst you have your motor on the bench, another thing you can check are the two bearings that are in the die-cast body housing. Mine are shown as bronze bearings, but yours would be plain steel, no doubt. But you can take your drive gear out and insert it from the other side. That enables you to put it in there and spin it around and check those bearings for wear or play. That's an easy thing to check at this stage. Once you've established that they're okay, you may have noisy bearings, which is causing you problems and irritation, or you may have problems with the electronics and the pulse module. So inspect the pulse module, particularly around this lower corner here, right? That area of the module around here is where the water gets in and corrodes the PCB. If it's badly corroded on here, then it is possible to repair and it is possible to remove the PCB, but it's very difficult, beyond a lot of people, I would say. But I believe you can buy new pulse modules. Also inspect the EPDM gasket that goes around the side here. It's like a neoprene adhesive backed. This one's had a new gasket, but these degrade over time, and that's where the water gets in, particularly around here. So check that for wear. It is possible to make a new gasket, and I'm looking at actually providing gaskets. So there are a few things to check before you start any further trying to change the bearings, because if the drive gear is worn or the worm gear is worn, then there's not a lot you can do. But hopefully you will be okay. Thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up, share and subscribe. Oh, and don't forget the alert bell.